Premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
Like two bad nurses, then the pain from these here verses. Ridiculous thirsts involving hearses. To the dirt, first fixing is in autos to work with. Slugs to the shirt, chest a squirt. In it with an expert kick from birth to the earth split. It'll hurt, show you how worse it than worse get in its zone. See the vein when the pain repellers in the clothes and the curtains. When adrenaline's pumping, I don't understand discussion. Only hit certain. I'm a misunderstood, and I'm off my square. How got me reversing clips and dispersing.
What can I say to make you see how the I feel? To make me wanna jump off of the edge. I'm charged up and stuff is getting shot up on the legs. Don't pain instead of cane, I took a blood off to the head.
That,
Tell me what it's
he's giving me Twister vibes. That's Twister? Okay, I was like, wait, is that Twister? Let me find out. What you know about Twister, Andy? Okay. Drop a little bit out there. Swab House. Let's go. Okay.
Shout out to Ben Frank. He's the inspiration behind this record.
All right. What motivated you from what did Ben Frank say that motivated you to play that?
We were talking about, the energy behind certain things, and he said adrenaline rush.
And there it is. All right.
And that's the name of the song, Twisted Adrenaline Rush.
Listen, I don't know that I knew the name of this song. I felt like I heard it before.
Yes.
But I didn't know the name of the song. Because, not that anyone asked me, outside of obviously the song he did with Jamie Foxx and, of course, his other singles. My favorite Twista song is him on
Do or Die.
Yes, Do or Die. Hope Pimpin'.
Yeah, he ripped that.
That was crazy. Like
bars.
90 cut just spit, came in and like let it go. Woo. Yeah. Just hot fire.
You know
back
what?
In the day.
I want to say this about Chicago.
Let's see.
They're very West Coast.
In their approach,
their style, what they present, take Twista. Twista give me West Coast vibes.
Is it because he's west of the Mississippi? You think that's what it is? Do you think that that's kind of how hip hop breaks down? Like, because if you look at Detroit, rappers from Detroit or that thing, they give you more East Coast vibe.
Okay, yeah? Okay, I'm with you.
And you think about
because that's how I feel about Atlanta and Texas.
Okay.
Texas just gives me more West Coast.
West, exactly.
Atlanta or Georgia gives me more East Coast. Even though they're the South, it still gives me more East Coast
influence. Not saying that they don't have their own thing. That's
right.
But I understand exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of, if you think about what is it called? Juking. Juking is in Detroit, which kind of is like house music. But then Chicago has their Chicago house music or what, right?
Mm-hmm.
And their drop beats. So I can feel that in the West Coast. We had our
and the Brat. The Brat was from Chicago, West Coast. She was the West Coast Snoop, West Coast female Snoop Dogg.
Yeah, she definitely was in Funktified. Was definitely sounding like Snoop's little sister.
Absolutely.
Down to the look and everything. Well, you were locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. This is, of course, hour 2, and we are so excited to have you. The chat still bubbling over. Terry, going back to my question regarding Kevin Hart. Are you going to work out when you get older? Is it still part of the plan? Do you feel as though keeping a sound body is just as important as keeping a sound mind? And when I say sound, I'm not saying like, hey, I just want to make sure that I can walk and get myself around and I don't have to use a walker. I mean, seriously, keep yourself fit where you feel like you could challenge a pro athlete in a foot race. Are you feeling like that? So Terry says, before any sport or exercise, the body must be warmed up. The warm-up should be at least 5 to 10 minutes. This is true, but how many 20-year-olds warm up? Not many. And so, and I'm not talking about professional. I'm talking about like when you're just out there messing around or maybe before you go for your run. So probably there's a lot of 40-year-olds that in their mind, they still feel 20-ish, Not that they're mistaken that they're older, but they feel like, they got a little more zip than they normally would. Terry also says, it sounds like Kevin wasn't warmed up enough. I'm older than Kevin and I warmed up before I run and exercise. It helps if a person has a healthy diet too. Of course, I think Kevin is vegan. So, I mean, and he seems pretty healthy. He obviously works out, but he probably also was trying extra hard to prove a point to the former NFL running back.
I agree that you do have to warm up for sure. To your point about do 20-year-olds warm up? No, but if they're a part of a team, the coach is making them warm up.
Right.
And I just think you could be as healthy as you can be, but I do think like once you cross 40, you get sore easily. You know what I'm saying? Things tear easily. You could be the healthiest individual, but I just think as you get older,
things happen.
things
Listen.
happen,
You wake up in the morning, it's a little chilly. Those bones are a little creaky. You got to stretch a little bit extra to get out of bed. It's just the natural wear and tear of the body. But I do think that keeping a healthy exercise, well, not think, we know it's proven fact. Keeping a healthy exercise routine as you get older is important for mobility's sake, for your mental health, all of that.
Diet too.
Diet is especially important. Diet is probably more important than exercise.
100%.
If we're being honest.
100%.
I mean, but and the thing is, I think people think that you have to go super, super restrictive in order to be healthy, or that you can never have any of the bad stuff. And that is not true. Moderation is key. You don't need the bad stuff every single day, but that doesn't mean that you can never have it.
Right.
So
I was watching some documentary. I forgot what it was, but it had to deal with food and health or whatnot, and they got these 3 college football athletes from different schools, and the experiment was they wanted to test their blood and see if that had any impact on their performance. So just to make a long story short, 3 individuals, they all got like one got a chicken wrap, a beef wrap, the other one got like a vegetable wrap, right? Mm-hmm. They checked their blood afterwards, right? And then the next day they all got a veggie wrap, right? Check their blood. The athletes who ate like the one with meat, mm-hmm. you can see how cloudy their blood was. The individual who did the veggie, the blood looked clear, looked cherry red or whatnot. The next day when all 3 of them ate the veggie, their blood was clean.
So it is true. Vegetables, they instantly detox you.
100%.
Vegetables, fruit in your diet,
and
water.
It looked nasty too. I'm not gonna lie.
I bet
it looked
did.
Cloudy. Like damn.
I mean, it's just like, so you think about. I don't know if you've ever traveled like to Europe, but you hear a lot of people discuss about how the food is different over there, like the bread. There's a lot of pasta, obviously. If you go to, Italy, if you go to France, they eat a lot of bread and red wine with their meals. But you feel different after you eat certain foods there. And it's because their pasteurization process is different. The type of preservatives that they utilize, there are things that are allowed here in America that are not allowed there. And you can taste the difference. A lot of people talk about going on vacation and losing weight, even though they were eating just as much or more than they have eaten at home. I know that tends to happen with me, but not always. I thought part of the reason for that is because when I'm on vacation, I'm a tourist. I like to sightsee. So I'm going to be doing more walking than I probably would if I was just at home on a regular day. But I think the food really, makes a difference, especially as you get older. Your body doesn't tolerate things in the same way. So it's interesting. Like, you even think about eggs, and I'll say this and then I'll get off of this. But, eggs in Europe, you can leave them. You don't put them in the refrigerator. You leave them out. They don't need to be refrigerated because of the pasteurization process. We try to leave eggs out here and eat them. You're going to be messed up.
Hey, the American diet, I don't even want to get into that rabbit hole. I'm sorry.
It's a whole thing. When we come forward, we will play that Kevin Hart clip for you because you need to hear it for yourself. He is a comedian, so he is very expressive and it's pretty amusing. And we'll get into what Megan Fox and 50 Cent have going on. Also, that Rick Ross story we mentioned about the new Georgia law course, and Angel Reese and what's going on with her schooling. All of that and more. You're locked into RSVP with with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
RSVP with Jill Munroe is your go-to show for staying in the know. More engaging conversation when we come forward on KBLA Talk 1580.
Support comes from Getty, presenting The Gospel at Colonus, a theatrical event under the stars that reimagines the story of Oedipus. Blending Greek myth with Black spiritual practice, the show follows the blinded Oedipus as he seeks redemption after a lifetime of tragedy. Co-produced by Court Theater, conceived and adapted by Lee Brewer, with music composed by Bob Telson. Thursdays through Saturdays this September at the Getty Villa Museum. Tickets available now at getty.edu. When it comes to special needs educational and health resources, Special Needs Network has you covered. On Saturday, August 26th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Jane Addams Park in Lawndale, Special Needs Network and California Assemblywoman Tina McKinner invite you and your entire family for a fun-filled day at a back-to-school and health fair. Featuring music, live performances, exhibitions from your favorite professional LA sports teams, a petting zoo, pony rides, a kids zone, and professional haircuts for kids and teens. Get critical early identification and intervention resources, health and dental screenings, bags of fresh fruits and vegetables, and an opportunity to win fantastic prizes. Free backpacks and school supplies while they last for students, and a chance to win a free cell phone or tablet from TrueConnect with an EBT card. Visit SNNLA.org or on Facebook or Instagram at Special Needs Network.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
KBLA Talk 1580 reminding you that we keep us safe. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family was founded to help address domestic violence and sexual assault in the Asian and the Pacific Islander communities. The Center for the Pacific Asian Family's mission is to build healthy and safe communities by addressing the root causes and consequences of family violence and violence against women. They are committed to meeting the specific cultural and language needs of the Asian and Pacific Islander women and their families. CPAF's vision is of an Asian and Pacific Islander community that embraces healthy relationships and works in partnership with other communities to eradicate all forms of violence. To access services, volunteer, or for more info, visit nurturingchange.org. At KBLA Talk 1580, we believe everyone deserves to be safe. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, keeping you informed, entertained, and always ahead of the curve. This is RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. So, again, we've been talking about a little bit about health and aging and what happened to one over 40 individual who thought he could get out there and just get it popping, no warm-up, no stretch, against a former pro athlete. So, Kevin Hart, who, you know, he's funny. Kevin got jokes. He said he has multiple injuries that he sustained from trying to run a 40-yard dash against a former NFL running back. So let's listen to him break down how all of this occurred.
Yep. Well, you know it's going to be bad. Anytime somebody starts off by saying, well, it's bad. Ladies and gentlemen, the age 40 is real. To all my men, women out there that are 40 years old and above, it's not a game. Respect that age. Respect that age. Or that age will make you respect it. I was just forced to respect it. This is just a public service announcement because I know people may see me out. And I don't want you to be alarmed, but I'm in a wheelchair. Yeah. I'm in a wheelchair. Why? Well, because I tried to jump out there and do some young stuff. Tried to go out there and do some young man stuff, and I was told to sit my down. Shouts out to Stephen Wiley. I'm going to go to put this story out there before you do. Me and Stephen, we got into a little debate. This debate was based off of who was faster. Those that know me know I'm pretty fast. Stephen said, Kev, ain't no way you're going to beat me. Stephen is an ex-NFL running back, played for New England Patriots. Very good guy. I said, Steve, you can bet it. He said, bet. I said, bet. We get out there, we go run the 40-year-old dash. 40-yard dash. Guys, I blew all my tore my lower abdomen. My abductors are torn. I don't even know what that is, but I tore them. I tore those too. I can't walk. Sit my down. This is 44. Tell you what you just lost, son. You just lost every opportunity of me going to racing you anytime soon. It's over. Kenneth, it's over. Sit down. What are we competing for at this age? Why are we, like, what am I doing? Why did I even race? Stupidest ever. Now I can't walk because I'm somewhere trying to get the title of the fastest at the barbecue. What was I thinking, son? God, got to be the stupidest man alive. It is what it is, man. This is life. I'm out. I got about 6 to 8. I blew my Welp.
So Kevin has had a lot happen to him physically over the past couple of years. We know he had that car accident a few years ago. And now if he is serious about the extent of this injury, which it sounds like ego fed into this, but I just think it's interesting that someone that took on such a healthy stance and worked out as he did, just from running a little race. Like, I get you may be a little sore, maybe a little hamstring, but just that much devastation. Either Kevin wasn't really working out in the manner with which he said, or his ego just did him a huge disservice. I don't understand. He was just that pumped.
Here's the thing. A lot of us, when we talk about working out, we're always working out that upper body.
Oh, so you think he was just hitting the weights?
Bada bing. I mean, he probably was just doing chest presses, you know what I'm saying? Dumbbell, you know what I'm saying? But he wasn't doing no squats.
No cardio, nothing for the lower body.
Nothing for the lower body, and that probably could be the reason.
That could be very much true. Guys like to sit on the bench, not just guys, but I'm going to just say guys like to sit on the bench and just, chat and do a little bit of these.
How many times do you see people buff up top and then they got toothpicks for legs,
Ridiculous. But you got to get that cardio. But Kevin was a runner. That's what I thought. I thought we would see pictures of him running marathons and stuff like that. So I'm confused. I'm really confused.
Running for long distance is different than sprinting.
It very much is. I had a friend that ran track in college, and she was a sprinter, and she was like, sprinters, we don't even talk to the distance runners. Totally different mindset, totally different approach to the game. We don't get no love. We don't give them no love.
100%. I ran track too well. I participated on the field as I was a long jumper or whatnot, but I do remember those who did like the 100s, 200s, and 400s. They were in one group, and if anything above 400, you guys were in another group.
The distance runners, because it is very different. I mean, I've never ran a marathon. I think about it though. I actually thought about maybe a half marathon. I don't know if I'll really seriously do it because when I worked at Nike, we had a running club that we used to do, and that's when I kind of started to run and jog. And so I think at that time, the most I had run was about 3 or 5 miles. I would do a couple of races and stuff like that. And so I enjoyed it, but just a general rule, I don't think I really enjoy running in that manner. Like, I don't mind the working out. I don't mind walking, but running, there is something about running over distance that just turns me off. I just feel like my knees are going to be jelly when I get older, pavement feet. I don't know, but I see the benefits of it. But also, too, because of the way that fat is broken down with runners and stuff like that, and they don't do a lot of lifting in general. This is going to sound crazy, but I think there is exercise obviously for mind, body, and soul, and then there's exercise because you want to be tight and look good. I vacillate between the two. So when I think about the ones that are going to make you look good, running isn't it, because it wears on your body differently. If you look at people that are runners, and I'm talking about distance runners, not like sprinters and stuff, they wouldn't have what we would consider to be that fit looking body the way that they are. They're generally smaller, but they're not like, muscle definition, things like that. And it's by nature of because of the sport and how things break down and stuff like that. So I take that stuff into consideration when I am on my fitness thing and have a trainer. I'm trying to get my YouTube on and see if I can get like some of these gurus and see what's happening. Again, we're back and forth with what period we are with that. Maybe we'll get back.
I have the solution for you.
What's the solution?
It's a balance. A little bit of both.
It is a balance. It is a little bit of both.
And you'll be good.
But here's the thing. Like, I definitely agree it's a little bit of both, but I still don't like to run. And now I'm older. I'm like, I want to preserve my feet. So I will walk. Like, I don't mind that. I even think that if I do a half marathon, I will walk, which means, jog for a minute, walk for 5. Jog for another 2 minutes, walk for 5.
I'll say this. My lady, she did the marathon, last year. And she did that. She did just what you just said.
I mean,
she ran a couple periods. Mm-hmm. She walked. She jogged. So you don't have to feel compelled to run the whole thing.
Oh, I wasn't. There's literally. Here's the reason why, though. It couldn't happen. I could think it. Well, I shouldn't say that. I could do anything I set my mind to.
Here you go.
But I do feel like that would be extremely difficult. And again, I'm not even talking about the full 26.2 miles. I'm talking about doing like 13.1 or whatever. I believe that is what the half marathon is. Listen.
What about them 5K joints?
I've done a lot of those.
Okay.
A lot of 5K. That's like 3 and something miles.
Okay.
A 10K is like a little over 6 miles. That's what I used to do, and that's most of the races that I've done.
And you ran the whole thing?
No. I still did my little. I'm gonna run for a bit and then walk again, because I know this is gonna sound crazy, but I'm a former dancer. Like, I believe in knee and foot health. I think that type of stuff is very important to look out for as you get older.
Especially on concrete.
What that does to your legs and your knees and stuff like that, especially over a prolonged period of time. Again, because I spent that time with Nike and got to talk to professional runners or people that, did it as sport and spend time with them and, discuss different footwear with them, you find out a lot of things. And running is on concrete, very, very hard on the body. You need to switch up your shoes. People don't, they understand the importance of what type of running shoes you have, but you don't really understand the importance of those running shoes as far as your gait, your stride, how you're going to feel afterwards. All of that stuff is incredibly technical and incredibly important, and running shoes aren't cheap either, and they do need to be replaced. Like, there is mileage on them, and depending upon how much you do need to switch them out.
Having this discussion makes me realize, I kind of already knew this, but like, you wonder why there's so many injuries going on. And let's just say basketball, for example, right?
For sure.
Why is it? Because when I was growing up, late 80s, early 90s, I just don't remember a lot of star athletes getting injured the way today's athletes are. And I understand a little bit, or a lot of it probably has to do with the whole AAU circuit.
Absolutely. 100%.
These cats are, you could say they done played, seasons before they even got to the league. But to your point, a lot of us grew up just playing in our backyard or whatever at the local park on the concrete, not understanding how that affects our knees. Hell, I had a knee injury, my senior year, I played a lot of my times on a blacktop as opposed to playing in the gym. So you're right about that. When it comes to running, you got to have the perfect shoe, and just, if you're going to be working out on concrete, just take precaution.
Facts. And to your point about athletes, I think another thing, the reason why we see more injuries in this current day athlete, even though they're better trained and have better equipment and so forth, is because there isn't as much diversity across sport for them as well. Because, back in the day, a guy would play football and he would play basketball. And then maybe he would run track too, football and track or something like that, or maybe basketball and baseball, something like that. They would play, be diverse. One of the reasons why I think Kobe was so great, well, we know, was so great with his footwork, for example, is because he played soccer. So he had that dexterity. And I think that when we see these kids now, they're not allowed to play multiple sports because they're really trying to lock in and take it to the next level. And I think that we miss out on certain aspects of the game and certain technical skills because they're not learning a cross-section of skill sets. So your body is only developing and overusing these muscles that are required to start and stop if you are playing basketball up and down the court. Whereas to your point, you're going to do more strength training if you're also playing football so you can build up that core, build up your leg muscles to give you more support, and you learn to make those adjustments within your game. So I think that for kids who are playing more than ever, I mean, I know that back in the day, obviously people would play outside and do whatever, but this is getting up, playing organized ball to a degree. When they're running through AAU camps over the weekend, they're having like 3 and 4 games a day sometimes. So it doesn't mean as much to them. And they don't get the opportunity to develop the other skills that playing a cross-section of sports can. And I think that it is important for mental development. I think it's important for their skill set as a whole to have that. And if you are the parent of an athlete, not that I have any say so, but I would encourage it.
As a dancer, did you have to warm up or train, so to speak,
Absolutely.
to be a dancer?
Absolutely. You have to warm up your muscles. You have to stretch your muscles because if you don't, it's very, probably have an undiagnosed ACL like tear or a little bit in my right leg that I got. And it's actually kind of what stopped me from even really dancing just for pleasure because it was really, really bad. I never went and got it checked out because I'm like, oh, I just did something a little funny and I just kind of left it alone. But I mean, with any of that, it's very, very, I'm lucky that I don't have dancers' feet. If you have looked at a dancer's feet, a lot of times they're not pretty, especially if you made it to toe in ballet. Listen, those toe shoes, those boxes, it is not a good look. Not when you think about Boomerang and when Eddie Murphy pulled back the covers. Listen, that's what a lot of dancers' feet look like. When we come forward, we will have more trending topics, more headlines, more for you. VIPs, thank you for locking in to RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. News and Sports is up next.
And throw the shells in the garbage, the hardest to never achieve what I've accomplished. Young bucks, my accomplice, located his existence with my sixes like a compass. Decided on a journey to astonish and start this. Rush up in the hearts of other to get them charged. What's the real reason? All you haters try to murder me, so now it's kill season. And even though I'm still bleeding, I'ma keep coming because I'm still breathing. And y'all can't trace me. I'm burying my victims in the wall like Gacy. Too lyrical. And since it's nip on my umbilical, these flows me critical. My music is miracles like I'm biblical. Kill like I'm nutty and a buddy love.
Trending topics and the hottest happenings. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Trump was arrested in Georgia for his alleged efforts to overturn the state's 2020 election. Fulton County Police said he went through a fingerprinting and mugshot process, a first for Trump. He was released on a $200,000 bond. He was charged last week along with 18 other co-defendants for breaking state election laws in an effort to remain in power. The charges center around actions that include allegedly making false claims of ballot fraud and pressuring local officials to find him more votes to overturn the election. This was the fourth criminal case brought against the ex-president this year. Black Fulton County District Attorney Fonnie Willis on Thursday asked for the Trump racketeering trial to start on October 23rd. His arraignment could come soon next month. And that is the latest. I'm Doug Davis from the Black Information Network and BINnews.com.
Calling all night owls, Buffalo Wild Wings is open late. Fill up on some tasty apps with an ice cold tall beer starting at $4. Late night food and drinks start at $4 from 10 till close at B-Dubs. Limited time at participating locations. Offers, days, and times may vary. Drink responsibly. Void where prohibited. Tax and fees extra.
KBLA Talk 1580 is dedicated to empowering our communities by providing progressive talk radio for our audience. We strive to be an intersectional voice for the voiceless. As a Black-owned and operated station, we are committed to highlighting diverse perspectives and creating safe spaces for meaningful dialogue. We believe that everyone has something unique to bring to these political, economic, social, and cultural conversations, and we don't shy away from the hard conversations about current events. We endeavor to be a beacon of hope and understanding, while boldly challenging listeners to think more deeply about difficult topics that impact us all. With this in mind, our mission statement at KBLA Talk 1580 is simple: to create an inclusive platform that promotes civil discourse through honest dialogue and encourages personal growth among our listeners, so they can become the active agents of change. Our vision is to establish ourselves as the premier radio network with relevant programming across the beloved community, connecting people through shared experiences and collective power for lasting impact beyond these challenging times.
The possibility of lung cancer can be pretty scary, especially if you're one of approximately 8 million current or former smokers at high risk. That's why SaveByTheScan.org wants you to know that now there's a breakthrough low-dose CT scan that can detect lung cancer early, and it only takes 60 seconds. You stop smoking, now start screening. For an easy quiz to see if you're eligible, visit SaveByTheScan.org. It could save your life. SaveByTheScan.org is brought to you by the American Lung Association's Lung Force Initiative and the Ad Council.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
If you're 19 or older with chronic conditions like asthma, diabetes, COPD, or heart disease, or are 65 or older, you are at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine. It can help protect you against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Even if you've already been vaccinated with other pneumonia vaccines, Prevnar 20 may help provide added protection. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. Side effects include pain and swelling at the injection site, fatigue, headache, muscle, and joint pain. For full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
KBLA Talk 1580. We've got a lot to talk about.
The rent is too damn high. KBLA joins you in calling for affordable housing. The LA Tenants Union is a diverse, tenant-led movement fighting for the human right to housing for all. The LA Tenants Union demands safe, affordable housing and union rent control. They organize against landlord harassment, mass evictions, and displacement, and mobilize for the repeal of the Ellis Act and Costa-Hawkins Act. The LA Tenants Union is on a mission to strengthen tenants' political power through education, advocacy, and direct action. To get help with your eviction or other landlord-tenant issues, take action for justice, or become a member, visit latenantsunion.org. This is a community call to action from KBLA Talk 1580.
Ew. Gotta get rid of this old Backstreet Boys t-shirt.
Tell me why.
Because it stinks, boys.
Tell me why.
I've washed it so many times, but the odor won't come out.
Tell me why.
No, you tell me why I can't get rid of this odor.
Have you tried New Downy Rinse and Refresh? It doesn't just cover up odors, it helps remove them.
Wow, it worked, guys.
Yeah.
Downy Rinse and Refresh removes more odor in one wash than the leading value detergent in 3 washes. Find it wherever you buy laundry products.
This is KBLA Talk 1580. Talk radio. That's music to your ears. We're unapologetically progressive. KBLA Talk 1580. Curating the most compelling stories and delivering them straight to your ears. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580.
Go, 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 go. And on the count of 3. Go, 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 go. And on the count of 3. Go, 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 go. On the count of 3, everybody run back to your fantasy. Now, go, 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 go.
Shout out to Common. Do we still consider Lonnie a rapper, or is he firmly planted in the actor thing now? He's an actor, Andy. he's still a rapper. We still consider Common a rapper. We still consider his bars and reasonable. When's the last time he released music? Has it been in the past decade or so? I mean, I know he did the spoken word joint a couple years ago. That was a one-time thing. Just wondering, where he's at with it. Is anybody looking forward to a new Common album? Maybe he could bring back Common Sense. I don't know.
Well, according to Tidal, he has dropped some music, but kind of like what we were talking about in the first hour, I just don't know if there was any promotion or buzz behind it, And that's the dangerous thing I think about today's music. Like I was telling you, Quavo just dropped the album, and if I wasn't following him on social media, I don't think I would have known that an album was dropping. If I didn't catch the BET Awards when he linked up with Offset, I wouldn't have known that an album was cooking up.
Didn't Offset's album drop?
You see what I'm saying?
It did, right? We had the Jealousy single, and we've heard nothing else. That's kind of crazy, and it's so interesting. By the way, if you were keeping up, and maybe Drake meant West Coast time, his album has not hit Apple Music yet, and it is 1:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. But maybe he is going by the West Coast, and we are leading the charge. And if that is the case, he still has an hour and a half to put it out there for the masses, and so we can see what's going on with it. But it's kind of interesting to your point, Andy. What would you say? How do you think the best way to reach an audience is? Or for you, what is the best way for an artist to let you know that they have new music on the way?
I don't think it's the artist's responsibility. Well, I take that back.
Okay. Well, not there. Okay, so I'm not putting it on them, but what medium or platform do you think that in this era an artist must do, or their management or whomever must get across to make sure that they get maximum saturation?
I think they need to collaborate with the broadcasting industry, and shows like TRL and 106 and Park need to come back.
Do you think that it could still work because we have much to the reasons why shows like Sports Center are sort of losing some of their steam? You can check out the video or these highlights at any given time on YouTube, or even now on Instagram or TikTok or Twitter. So would they hold the same type of impact over an audience? Would they lock in for that? Because essentially what they'd be locking in for, like most things, I guess, would be to hear the opinions and maybe not so much see it. I don't know. Would it be worth it? Like, is there a weekly podcast countdown show for music or something like that? We know there's discussions, but a countdown, no matter what it is, so to speak.
The podcast game is already oversaturated.
It is.
So I think that also is somewhat of a detriment to the game. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm a sports guy. We have Knuckleheads, right? We got It Is What It Is. We have
Gil's Arena.
You know what I mean?
All the Smoke.
Jill. I don't have time.
The Old Man and the Three.
I don't have time to listen to all of them. I don't. And I would like to.
What is Playoff Peas? Whatever.
Podcast P.
Podcast
Just
P.
saying.
Exactly.
I want to listen to all of these podcasts.
But who has the time?
Who has the time?
RSVP with Jill Munroe. Listen, all of it.
I gotta consume them in clips.
Right.
Not because I want to, but it's just I can't sit through a whole hour. You know what I mean? Like, I would have to dedicate maybe a day. I'm gonna listen to Podcast P on Monday. Tuesday I'm gonna listen to Gilly and Wallow. You know what I mean? But even then, it's too much. It's too much. It's oversaturated.
And I wonder how it's all going to shake down, because I know athletes are very much of the position, we're the new media and we're taking over, and and their voices are needed, and I love hearing the conversations, but let's keep it a bean. Let's keep it a buck.
Speak on it.
Who's going to hold them accountable in these conversations? Who is going to ask them the questions that differentiate certain things? Because we know at times, and not all of them, we're getting a sanitized version, a sort of, my version of the truth and your version of the truth might differ slightly, and then there's the actual version, so I think that sometimes in some of these situations it's a bunch of friends sitting around talking, which makes for great conversation.
Absolutely.
But if you're not being challenged in some of these conversations, in the positions that you're taking, if you're not getting any pushback, then at a certain point, I don't know.
Well, you as the consumer, you just got to go ahead and decipher what you think is what's real and what's what's fake. Couple days ago, I believe Karl Anthony Towns, right, was on Podcast P, and he talked about the whole Jimmy Butler, Minnesota Timberwolves practice situation, right? And if you read the comments, you all cap. But you know what though? You can go on YouTube, and Jeff Teague talked about it on, I don't know if it's his podcast or
It
whatever.
is. It's Club 752 or something like that.
me?
Him and his boys.
So you'll hear his recollection of the story, right? And then of course, you have the Rachel Nichols interview with Jimmy Butler, and the people commenting is like, yo, I believe Jeff Teague, or I believe Jimmy Butler. So it's just, you're gonna hear the same story from multiple platforms, and you just gotta decipher what's real and what's fake.
And I mean, I think that we like that because basically if you get different viewpoints of the same situation, you might be closer to the truth, or at least understand, everyone might key in on different aspects of the situation, the story, or what have you.
Absolutely.
So you might have a more complete picture.
Absolutely.
And we want everybody to win. Nobody's a hater. But to your point, there are only so many hours in a day, and there is only so much information and content that we can consume. And then here's the thing too. I also think that because there's so much for us to consume, people don't sit with things like they used to and process it, or really apply context to situations. They're just like, oh, in one ear, out my mouth, and we're moving on. And it's like, did you really hear what you said? Did you really listen to what they said? I think on Zoe Williams' show, The Voice of Reason, earlier, they were having a conversation about communication skills and how much of communication is about listening. And I think that that is something that is important to mention, because a lot of times in these conversations, or even in us just enjoying all the media that's out there, are we really listening to what's being said? Or are we just sort of taking it kind of like fast food and just shoveling it through just to get us from point A to point B?
I'm a victim, and I think, I feel like my attention span has waned. You know what I mean? Do you want to blame social media? I don't know if I've been indoctrinated or programmed to feel that way. I mean, like, that's why you have reels and clips and shorts and this, that, and the third. You made a valid point. I think it's because it's overwhelming, it's oversaturated. It does make it difficult to listen and hone in. And even listening to music, I feel the same way. Back in the day, I'll buy an album, listen to it. I'm going to listen to it again.
Pour over it, look at the liner notes, hear the little people.
I listen to it once, I'm done.
And that is really how people consume stuff, and they make a judgment on whether the art is really valid, if it's any good. And it's like with some things you actually need to sit with. I mean, I'm not saying everybody's entitled to make their judgment right away. Some things you may not need a lot of time with it. You may just be like, this is basura, I'm moving on, and that's fair. That is fair. But, I do think that there are certain things, even like TV shows or film, statements within them that you need to sit with them a bit and process the theme or the plot, understand the character that they're building out, especially now because, once again, we have so much content on streamers, and we have these series. So they give us so much more as far, we hope, character development and story and the backstory. And you still find people missing huge parts of the plot that they went into great pains to explain to you or to leave a big old Easter egg. And I think it's just because naturally, I know mine has. I remember back in the day when instant messenger was really popular. So like the mid 2000s, I was on my sidekick doing it up or whatever. And I remember my mom talking to me one day, and she was like, you have an addiction. And I was like, what are you talking about, lady? No. And she was like, yeah, you do. You can't go 2 minutes without checking to see what's going on there. And it caught me off guard. And I was like, wait, she might be right.
As empowering as a platform like YouTube, where you could broadcast yourself TikTok and Instagram. You can go live. As empowering as it is, like I said, once again, it takes away from us being able to focus on whatever it is that we need to focus on. You know what I'm saying? It takes us a while to actually let the music, settle in or whatnot, because everybody's empowered to speak now. You know what I'm saying? Because they found their voice, it kind of takes away from them actually listening.
Because they just want to put out their opinion, and they want the attention and what we talked about earlier. Shout out to Ben Frank.
Yeah.
The dopamine hit,
yes,
the adrenaline rush that comes along with all of that. So, I mean, it really is true. They just want to be, hey, I listened and I have an opinion. That's kind of what the approach is, and they don't really take the time to settle. Right. And that is to something else that we mentioned earlier, why you see certain artists go on tour and their streams may be ran up, but they can't sell out the arenas, or they can't sell their tour or their numbers for their new projects. It's like everybody loves them, but the money's not there, the response isn't there, the follow through isn't there. Or you'll see somebody performing at a show and you'll notice, why isn't the crowd singing the lyrics? It's because they really don't know. They may know one song, they may know a chorus of this other one over here, but they're not connecting with the music in the same way, which is so interesting considering how stans are a whole personality type for some people, and they connect in that way so much. I shouldn't even say connect. They identify so much with these artists, but they really don't. It's kind of strange. I don't know.
There needs to be a centralized situation, like you talked about Sports Center, for example, right? Nobody's really gravitating to Sports Center because we have all these other sports type podcasts. If they didn't exist, if everybody wasn't empowered to do their own thing,
but see, I don't just
all
think
have
that
the
it's
focus. But I'm just saying, people would have that focus, right,
on the thing, exactly,
on that Sports Center. Oh, RG3 is being interviewed. Everybody's going to be able to watch it. You know what I mean? And there's going to be value from that. But I can see RG3 on this platform and that platform. The message starts to, get diluted.
Absolutely. But I think for sports, they have a different challenge too, in that we don't have to wait for highlights anymore. They're everywhere. Do you know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
I don't have to wait to Sports Center to see if that QB just got picked off. I don't have to wait to see that incredible play or how, Steph went baseline to baseline, knocked the three down or whatever. We don't have to wait for that. We can see it instantly over and over again, different angles, take it with us. So I think that is part of it too. And to your point, because we stream so much at our leisure, it's hard to create water cooler moments anymore.
Speak on it.
Because everyone is watching at their own time.
Yep.
They aren't, and maybe it's a good thing, there isn't, although I think there is the same type of pressure to know or be aware of, there isn't the same type of pressure to watch at the given hour or time, because you can catch it at any time with anything. Like, I can catch that conversation after the fact.
Yep. I'm a DVR king.
So see, there you go. I'm at the point now, though, I don't really turn my TV on that much. I watch a lot of things on my laptop. I don't like watching stuff on my phone. I don't know how people do that so much. Like, I mean, little clips, little things, but like a movie or really something, I want to see the full picture. I want to see all the nooks and crannies in it.
It's funny that you mentioned that back in college in one of my marketing classes, a group project that I had, the study was pretty much, is the TV still necessary? Considering, people are, watching stuff on their laptops, their phones and stuff like that. So it's funny that you even said that.
I mean, but here's the thing with that. For some, it's absolutely not. I mean, you think about how the price of a TV has changed over the course of the last 10 to 15 years. If you wanted the big screen, 60, 70-inch joint, you were coming up off $2,000, $3,000.
Right.
Now you can get one of those for like $750, maybe less if you get on the black. Huh?
I need to go to the store.
I mean, no, seriously, if you get around one of those sales, like the price for TVs has come down drastically. And I think obviously we've had technological updates and things of that nature. But I also think it's because simply people aren't utilizing TVs as much as they used to. Like, everything used to be bigger. You wanted to go in someone's house. That was part of a guy's like setup for his bachelor pad. He may just have a couch and a huge TV and that one lamp in the corner.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
And a game system.
And a game, for sure. And elaborate games, that's going to be hooked up. But that's about it, They may have a box spring for their bed. They may not. Are their sheets going to match? Whatever. But that TV was going to be hooked up. But now at this point, what are we going to do with all of that? When we come forward, we'll have more trending topics and headlines. We will talk about Angel Reese and her decision not to attend class in person. We'll also get into that Rick Ross law course. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580.
Infusing a sense of fun and entertainment in every episode. You're listening to RSVP with Jill Munroe on KBLA Talk 1580. More when we come forward.
Joey from Vermont, a farmer trying to get through the winter. Adriana from South Carolina, a single mother living paycheck to paycheck. Liam from Ohio, an injured father struggling to provide for his family. Hi, I'm Shanola Hampton, and I support the Feeding America network of food banks because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org.
Dominique DePrima for KBLA Talk 1580. Are you worried about your credit score? Well, look, you can rebuild it. There are lots of factors that go into determining your credit score, but one of the most effective ways to improve your score is to consistently pay your bills on time, over time. If you're forgetful about payments like me, try automating your bill payments. That way all your creditors get paid on time and you'll have freed yourself of trying to remember. Whatever your financial goals, U.S. Bank Access Commitment Initiatives can help support you in reaching them. Access your financial goals at usbank.com/access. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
At Charmin, we heard you shouldn't talk about going to the bathroom in public, so we decided to sing about it.
Roll Charmin ultra strong when you drop in the beat. It cleans with way less effort on your seat. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Yeah, roll it, drop it. Okay. Charmin flows extra strong from the road. Your butt hella clean while you're sitting on the bowl. Yeah, it's all you need for that bathroom groove. Get you in and out without nothing to prove.
Charmin Ultra Strong cleans better so you can use less. Enjoy the go with Charmin.
Attention taxpayers, ready for some bad news? With $80 billion in new funding from Congress, the IRS has launched their most aggressive hiring campaign ever to ramp up enforcement. If you're ignoring your taxes, don't delay another minute because your paycheck, your bank account, even your home or business could already be at risk. Now, here's the good news. Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax relief firm, can get to work immediately helping to protect you from the IRS. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their tax attorneys and licensed professionals are experts at resolving tax problems. Let them help determine if you qualify for the Fresh Start Initiative or other powerful IRS tax assistance programs. Take control. Call Optima Tax Relief now for a free consultation.
Call 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077. 800-919-9077.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Now back to more captivating conversation on RSVP with Jill Munroe.
Hey, it's Jill Munroe. You are locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580. Shout out to those of you that are in the YouTube chat that are sending up those hearts and likes. We always appreciate that. So I promised that I would let you in on what's happening with Angel Reese. You know, we love Angel. She is starting her senior year in college at LSU. LSU's women athletics are doing the thing right now. Sha'Carri obviously just won LSU. Angel, we know that they're going to run it back and have an impressive season, and she's going to continue to do what she does. In a recent interview with Teen Vogue, Angel talked about not only having thick skin, but also about the changes that she's made to her life as far as social media since everything has happened when they won the title back in March. So she said she's always had thick skin since she was young. She was put on a platform and she had always gone viral for basketball. So her confidence was natural. But she says that she has started to switch up a couple of things since they won the title back in March, April, maybe. She said since she earned that Most Outstanding Player award, she can no longer attend classes because of her newfound fame. She told Teen Vogue that transitioning from being a student athlete to a public figure that's the subject of fodder on gossip sites and media outlets has been sort of jarring for her. She said, I didn't think I was going to be on the shade room every time I posted something. She said, I don't feel like I'm a celebrity, but I think a lot of people look at me as a celebrity now because of the impact that I've had, not just on women's basketball, but on sports in general. And I'm a Black woman, so things have really changed for me. In addition to taking her classes online, she admits that she's altered her approach to social media. She said there's no more constant access. She said the negativity started to take a toll on her mentally. So now when she gets on social media, she posts and then logs off. She said that she's really lowered her time spent on apps because it just takes a toll on your mentality. And she just needs to take breaks and have time to herself and live in the moment. So like I said, she's entering her senior year at LSU, and we will for sure see her in the 2024 WNBA draft. We will see the Tigers most likely defend their national title this upcoming season. She's projected as a number 2 pick for the WNBA draft next year, behind who? University of Iowa guard Caitlin Clark. That is the whole thing that happened in the title game, and you can't see me, and da-da-da-da-da-da. So we'll see what happens. Andy, you look like you had a comment.
No, I'm just proud of her. Kudos to her for that. Social media could be a crucial platform, and, being this public figure now, I'm sure it's new to her, but I'm just glad that she's, taking care of herself and, protecting her peace and her energy.
100%. I mean, and she's making a lot of money and she obviously utilizes social media, but I'm glad that she recognizes that protecting her space is a priority, and that is how she's going to continue to be able to present her best self and navigate through these things, because all eyes will be on her this upcoming season. So we'll see what happens with that. We talked about Rick Ross, and when we come forward, we will get into the whole story about him being a Georgia law course now. Well, his enterprises. Rick Ross is a businessman. He has a lot of things going on, and so they are breaking down his businesses and looking at them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that when we come forward. Oh, I forgot to mention this in our conversation starter, so I'll just drop this here really quickly. Giannis Antetokounmpo said that he's not signing an extension with the Milwaukee Bucks next summer if everybody's not on the same page. Everybody thought Giannis was so loyal. We'll have to see how that turns out. News and sports when we come forward. You're locked into RSVP with Jill Munroe here on KBLA Talk 1580, Hour 3.
Go, 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 go. And on the count of 3. Go, 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 go. And on the count of 3. Go, 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 go. And on the count of 3, everybody run back to your fantasy.
KBLA 1580 Santa Monica.
I'm Doug Davis, and here's the latest from the Black Information Network. Former President Trump was